This is the fourth meeting between the Kaduna elders and Governor Sani since he assumed office on May 29, 2023. The forum, which is a non-partisan and non-religious platform, is co-chaired by the former military governor of Rivers State, General Zamani Lekot, retired, and the former head of service in Kaduna State, Abubakar Mustafa. Co-chairman of the Elders Forum congratulates Governor Sani on his victory at the Supreme Court and commends him on his numerous people-oriented programs in the past 7 months.
By choosing to start your administration from the rural areas, where the bulk of the population lives, you have started a long journey on the right foot.
This government requires support for peace to prevail. And once there's no peace, you hardly have development.
Kaduna for many years has witnessed several ethno-religious conflicts, but the elders are happy with the steps taken so far by the present administration to right the wrongs of the past.
I've been working on fighting insecurity. Thank you.
For Governor Sani, whose administration inherited the multifaceted security challenges as well as other socio-economic problems in Kaduna, addressing the challenges require a collaborative approach, just as he rails out measures taken to tackle the menace of banditry, kidnapping, and terrorism in the state.
They have agreed to set up 2 forward operating bases of the military in Kaduna State.
Regular meetings and interactions like this, according to the governor, remain the main thrust of his administration towards deepening citizens' engagement and participatory governance in an effort to bring about the needed socio-economic development in the state.
Welcome back. Well, yes, indeed, all eyes are on governors now to ensure that they do what they should or what they were elected to do to ensure that the people in the states are all, at least to a large extent, coping comfortably too with the economic challenges. This morning, we're joined by His Excellency Sani, Governor of Kaduna State. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, we've seen that report about security, but we also have read you several times where you have said, well, part of the challenges of one key solution to insecurity is good governance. Yeah. What are you doing about that in your state?
Yeah, thank you very much again. Why I kept saying that since I was elected is because we look at the situation of the country generally. From day one, a lot of people wanted to confuse the issue of insurgents fight in the northeast with the banditry and kidnappings in the northwest. And I believe they are not really the same. Like I said, the northwest crisis that has to do with banditry and kidnappings is economic problem. When you look at the situation critically, you will agree with me that most of those bandits always kidnap, some people and ask for ransom, and whenever they are given money, they will release the victims. In many cases, in some cases, when there is a delay, they end up taking the lives of those victims. So when you look at the situation and also look at the problem of poverty, unemployment, hopelessness, and lack of education, particularly in northwestern part of Nigeria. That is the reason why a lot of these incidents happen in northwest now, because of this crisis we're facing. The last time I checked, and you can confirm from the SDG's report, the recent one, you will agree with me that about 85 to 90% of the people that lives in the northwestern part of Nigeria are living below the poverty line. And of course, if you look at the statistics of the out-of-school children in Nigeria, you can see that from the statistics and data available, a lot of them are from the northwestern part of Nigeria. So that was the reason why I kept calling for good governance, because people kept talking about using the kinetic or non-kinetic approach to this crisis of insecurity. And I kept saying, have we really analyzed what we mean by a non-kinetic approach? It's not only about talking with the bandits, paying ransom to them, asking them to surrender their weapons. Most of this effort were made some years by past governors, and it didn't yield any result. Again, recently, a lot of governors and even some senior government officials are asking for looking at how do we really bring those criminals and pardon them if they can surrender. And I feel, look, that is only one aspect of non-kinetic, which for me is not even the most important one. The most important one is looking at the condition of the people generally. Okay. The poverty, unemployment, hopelessness, that's it.
So maybe I should then ask you, what have you done to improve the economic situation of Kaduna State indigenes?
Yeah, in Kaduna State, I think what we did when I came in, we look at the statistics, like I said, and I realized that in the first 2 months, I signed an executive order. People thought that was just a joke, but it's really helping us right now. Because since I signed the executive order to bring about 2.5 million underserved, underprivileged, poor people back to financial services sector, today we have about 1.5 million who have been brought back to financial services sector, and we have been coming up with some measures of interventions, supporting the less privileged, because right now they are financially included. We are supporting them. We have an agency called Kaduna. And Kaduna is looking at those that have small businesses and also some households that are poor. So what are we doing? Kaduna State government have now been bringing them, supporting them. We've not been making so much noise about that. And again, we have taken development to our rural areas. That is the reason why when I came in, I made it clear that our major agenda is revitalization of our rural economies. So if we look at what we've done, we have been working very, very well toward bringing or taking economic prosperity to the rural areas, where a lot of them were completely abandoned many, many years by successive governments in Kaduna State. So that has really helped us. And of course, we also try to tackle the problem of insecurity by bringing virtually all the stakeholders to the table. Now, what are we doing? We have tried as much as possible to look at how we can bring both traditional rulers, religious leaders, as well as even the major stakeholders in Kaduna State to the table to look at how do we sit down. And they have been helping us with a lot of support, wisdom, and their inputs. We really, really consider most of their inputs. That's the reason why in Kaduna State today, you can see that we're having peace to some extent, and because of our effort, a lot of other governments have come in to support Kaduna State. I was saying, was it last week?
Your Excellency, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there because you've said a lot of things, and you know we need to follow up on some of the things that you've said. You've talked about rural.
Yeah, in Kaduna State, I think what we did when I came in, we look at the statistics, like I said, and I realized that in the first 2 months, I signed an executive order. People thought that was just a joke, but it's really helping us right now. Because since I signed the executive order to bring about 2.5 million underserved, underprivileged, poor people back to financial services sector, today we have about 1.5 million who have been brought back to financial services sector, and we have been coming up with some measures of interventions, supporting the less privileged, because right now they are financially included. We are supporting them. We have an agency called Kaduna. And Kaduna is looking at those that have small businesses and also some households that are poor. So what are we doing? Kaduna State government have now been bringing them, supporting them. We've not been making so much noise about that. And again, we have taken development to our rural areas. That is the reason why when I came in, I made it clear that our major agenda is revitalization of our rural economies. So if we look at what we've done, we have been working very, very well toward bringing or taking economic prosperity to the rural areas where a lot of them were completely abandoned many, many years by successive governments in Kaduna State. So that has really helped us. And of course, we also try to tackle the problem of insecurity by bringing virtually all the stakeholders to the table. Now, what are we doing? We have tried as much as possible to look at how we can bring both traditional rulers, religious leaders, as well as even the major stakeholders in Kaduna State to the table to look at how do we sit down. And they have been helping us with a lot of support, wisdom, and their inputs we really consider most of their inputs. That's the reason why in Kaduna State today you can see that we're having peace to some extent, and because of our effort, a lot of other governments have come in to support Kaduna State.
Development, just before you went on to security, and how your focus, you want your focus to be in the rural areas. Recently you passed a budget, well, that was in December. Now your state's budget was 458 billion. 70% of that budget is recurrent.
No, it's not, it's capital.
Beg your pardon?
Capital, yeah.
I'm looking at how this, okay, beg your pardon, yes indeed. The capital budget is 70%.
Yeah.
And recurrent expenditure is about 30%.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I mean, when you say you're bringing development to the rural areas, what precisely do you mean? Is it just roads? Because we've seen you commission roads, which is a good thing. However, some people will say their immediate needs are more than roads.
Yeah, no, I think road is only one aspect. Maybe you have missed out on our effort. We have been building 3 major skill and vocational acquisition cities in all the zones. Number one, we did a groundbreaking of a skill and vocational acquisition city in Igabi, that is in the central zone. We've also done one in
skill acquisition. What
skill acquisition.
What kind of skills are you looking at?
Where we're many skills. We're talking about welding, we're talking about carpentry, we're talking about even ICT, because we believe at this critical moment we need to equip and educate our people on the issue of digital economy, because we believe we need to educate them. And what we look at it, the reason why we have gone to that is because I think we sent a delegation, which I was heading, was it 3-4 months ago, to Morocco. And what we found out is that a lot of things have been achieved by a country like Morocco. And what have they done? Because they look at the issue of education, and we believe we in Kaduna State we're having deficit in terms of skills. A lot of projects have been done in Kaduna in the recent years, but most of the people that work, most of those areas of welding, carpentry, even little things like, what do you call it, tiling, POP, and most of them have been done by people who are not from Kaduna State, because we have deficit in skills. And the world has changed right now. We have to stop thinking that you must be a graduate to get a job now. A lot of graduates are roaming the street, but we feel we need to give them skills so that they can be able to also be more productive, and they can be employed not only in Kaduna State, they will be employable in other parts of Nigeria, even abroad. If you look at some countries that are importing, exporting skills to other countries around the world, because that is where the world is turning into now. So for us, we believe in Kaduna, we have deficit, so I've been building 3 major vocational and skill acquisition cities, not only just a school, a city where
within rural communities?
For the people of, it's just like a city where we are partnering with the NBTE. You know NBT? We are partnering with the NBT, National Board for Technical Education. We are also partnering with one of the leading skill acquisition agency in Morocco, because we believe that is where the world is heading to. So we want to make sure that our youth are gainfully employed when they have the skill, because that's another way to reduce the level of employment, because not everyone will have master's degree or first degree to go and get a job anywhere. Skill is the key. As we are speaking, that we have done the groundbreaking in the last 3 months, and the project is ongoing right now. 3 major senatorial districts in Kaduna. That's number one. Number two, I want to draw attention to the fact that when I came in, we look at the healthcare system of Kaduna State. And remember, 3 months ago, we distributed state-of-the-art equipment in 290 primary healthcare centers in Kaduna State. Because in Kaduna, we believe healthcare is not a privilege. It's a right. And that is the reason why, by our own campaign promise, we made it clear to the people of Kaduna State that everyone should be able to get into a primary healthcare in less than an hour from your own home. So we have 255 wards in Kaduna. Every ward has a primary healthcare, fully equipped with state-of-the-art equipment as we're speaking. That was the reason why.
Personnel?
The personnel, yeah. As we're speaking, only last month, we have also employed thousands of medical personnel, from nurses to midwives. And that was the reason why even the president of the African Development Bank, Professor Adeshina, called me last week, and he asked me, he said, look, because of what we are doing in Kaduna, we want Kaduna to be a model for other states in Nigeria. Because of that, African Development Bank are now coming to Kaduna as a form of grant to model some of our primary health care, because we've done a lot, and African Development Bank are doing that free for us to support us with making sure they computerize some of the primary health cares in Kaduna State, also provide them with water and sanitation, as well as trying to make sure that they put solar power in our primary health care. But I told the president of the African Development Bank, Professor Adeshina, that look, as we're speaking, we have, out of the 209, about 152 already have solar power. So we just need support in the remaining, because Kaduna is leading in primary healthcare in Nigeria. That is a record. And we believe if you want to reach out to the rural areas, primary healthcare is key. Education is key. As we're speaking, we are equipping and building more primary schools in Kaduna. Only last week I announced that we are building about 2,000 more classrooms. About 1,500 have been equipped as we are speaking. In Kaduna State, that is primary schools. Education for us is key because we believe it's the greatest leveler. And we're not taking that for granted at all in Kaduna State.
I mean, Your Excellency, it's a lot of work that has been done, according to a lot of what we're hearing from you. And, you know, I was born in Kaduna. I spent my whole life, I was born in Angwarimi, and I went to all my schooling there. So I know a lot about this city and some of these non-kinetic moves that you're doing are supposed to go a long way, hopefully. But I wanted to take you up on something else. I saw you do something a few weeks ago when you went to that school, to the church in Sabon Tesha. And it was you know, refreshing. And of course, everyone was excited to see you in that church. And that spoke a lot to people like me who grew up from there. The divide between the people in Kaduna North and Kaduna South. And how this has fueled a lot of the crisis. People have taken advantage of that divide over the years to cause instability in the state. What more can you do to create that cohesion between people in Kaduna North and Kaduna South, so that we can stop these men and political actors in many cases who are trying to fuel crisis using that divide?
Thank you. Since I was elected last year, I made it clear during one of our major stakeholders meeting with both the CAN and GNI that in Kaduna we need to forget about the issue of division in terms of religion and ethnicity. Because I took an oath to be fair to everyone, irrespective of his religious or ethnic affiliation. That's what we're doing. If you listen to what's happening in Kaduna carefully today, we don't have any problem of division. Since I was elected, there was no single communal or religious crisis in Kaduna State. That is a fact. And why is this happening? It's because of justice. If you are fair to everyone, you treat everyone equally, you give everyone a sense of belonging, there will be peace in any society, not only Kaduna State. And my call to other people is, look, as a leader, you are not elected to represent any religion or any ethnic group. In Kaduna, we're very lucky. we have a lot of ethnic nationalities in Kaduna State. Not only that, we are cosmopolitan. There are many people who are not from Kaduna who lives in Kaduna from other part of Nigeria. So for me, that is strength. That shouldn't be weakness for us. Everyone has opportunity to contribute. That is the reason why today in Kaduna, both the Khan and Janai are working closely, and we have been having inter-religious harmony meeting virtually every month, organized by Khan and Janai. That is the reason why we all have sense of belonging. And when I went to the church the other time, for me, it wasn't something that is so difficult because, first and foremost, I made it clear to everyone. As a Muslim, even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was in Medina, he came out with a constitution where he brought everyone, Muslims, Christians, even those that have no religion, to sit down and agree on how they can live together.
Your Excellency, my apologies if you can hear me.
Because fairness and justice.
Well, my sincere apologies, Your Excellency, if you can hear me. Just something that you said a little while ago. Yes, when you talked about the fact that there are other people from other states who live in Kaduna, then there are Kaduna indigenes who also are residents in other parts of the Northwest. That's what you began by talking about. It calls to question the issue of collaboration among the state governors there to tackle the issue of poverty that you mentioned, because I remember the former governor, Nasir El-Rufai, also talking about a breakdown of that collaboration at some point, which fomented insecurity. What's the collaboration plan among the governors to try to take down some of these figures that you have reeled out earlier?
Yeah, we have a kind of a group. First, we have Northern Governors Forum. We also have Northwest Forum of our governors. And I can assure you that we've been having meetings. We have similar problems. Like I said, the issue of poverty, the issue of unemployment, the issue of out-of-school children affects virtually every state. Collaboration is very important. In our last meeting, we sat down in Kaduna, being the capital of northern Nigeria. We have agreed to work together. And as I can say here that so far so good, maybe there are 1 or 2 areas that we are not working at together on some areas, particularly if you look at the issue of how we approach the issue of security. I believe we're on the same page. But the way we implement most of those resolutions might not necessarily be the same because of our peculiarity. But I believe we are working together, we have the same agenda, implementation not necessarily the same. Because if you look at the issue of vigilance services that a lot of states have been initiating now, Kaduna said yes, we have 7,000. But my belief about vigilance service, whether in Kaduna, in Katsina, in Zamfara, or Amotokun in the Southwest, I have a different approach to all these issues. Why? Because as a former member of the National Assembly, I made an attempt to amend Firearms Act. And if you look at the Firearms Act, it's obsolete. The last time it was amended is over 30 years ago. And the reason why I felt maybe the approach might not be the same is because I believe the only way forward and the only way we can address the problem of security in Nigeria is the creation of state police. That's my own position. Not every government will agree with me. Those stop gaps of creating a Motokun, other vigilance services in other states, for me, cannot end insecurity in our own country. Because if you look at Firearms Act in Nigeria, no vigilance service group, whether a Motokun or anyone created by any state, including Kaduna State, that have the right to hold firearms. It's clear in the Firearms Act. I was a senator that wanted to amend that act. It wasn't successful. Until we do that, but until we do that, let's converse and all insist on the creation of state police in Nigeria. That is the way forward.
All right, well, maybe subsequently we'll like to at least engage you a lot more on this area, because it's a matter that a lot of people are really concerned about. We need to find out why and how do we proceed. So we thank you for coming on this morning, Your Excellency Sani, Governor of Kaduna State. Thank you and all the best to you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're back in a moment with business news right now.